Hello there and welcome. I'm Bob Proctor. Do you know, 58 years is a long time to do anything. But when you absolutely love what you're doing, it goes like that. It seems like a minute. And that's what I've been doing. You see, many years ago, I was fortunate enough to have a man introduce me to this book, Think and Grow Rich. Now, you've been introduced to this book. I know you have, by Jenna, because it's one of her favorite books. And mine is really beat up. I've got it being held together with an elastic. I've been reading this every day now for 58 years. And there's a few things that are absolutely critical that we understand. First of all, it's essential that we have a goal. It's got to be something that we really want. And if we don't, we're going to putter along just about getting the same results year after year after year. Now, at your convention, I shared a few ideas with you, and I'm going to quickly cover a couple of those ideas because I think they're very important. And I want to tell you what a phenomenal spot I believe you're in. Now, I'm a bit of an authority on this subject because I've worked around it for so long, and I've worked all over the world. I've worked with some of the largest companies in the world. And you get a feel for a company. You get a feel for what's going on in a company when you start to work with them. And I'm going to tell you something. The company that you're involved with is extraordinary. It really is. You're being led by two people who really know what they're talking about. Do you know, there's one thing I always recommend. If you want to get somewhere, go to somebody that's already done it and then do exactly what they tell you. Now, I'm telling you that because that's the advice I got with the man that gave me this book. When I picked up this book, I was earning $4,000 a year. I had never done anything of any consequence. And he said, Bob, if you'll do exactly what I tell you, you can have anything you want. Now, I really didn't believe that. I did not believe that you could have anything you want. But he said, listen, your way's not working. Why don't you try mine? Well, you know, that made sense to me. And I don't know why, but I didn't believe that I could have anything I want, but I believed he believed it. And so I made up my mind I was going to follow him and do exactly what he told me. Now, we talk about connecting the dots here. We're talking about earning more money. And we're talking about enjoying more freedom. That is very, very important. Both of those subjects are. And then begin to live the life that you were really designed to live. Now, do you see, one of the prerequisites is that you must follow direction. That is the only prerequisite. When Ray gave me that book, he said, Bob, he said, you've been blaming your results on lack of formal education, no business experience. You're telling me why you can't win. You see, I had 2 months high school. And I knew that I was never going to win because I didn't have any formal education. I never had a good job. I had a bad work record. He said, they're all reasons why you can't. He said, that doesn't make any difference. He said, you got more potential than you'll ever hope to use. If you can follow direction, you can have anything you want. Now, he said, I know how to be happy, healthy, and wealthy because I am. Do exactly what I tell you. And so I've been teaching that to people all over the world now for many, many years. When I got to know Jenna and Joshua, as I've told Jenna, I was absolutely fascinated with the two of them. Because here they are, they came from virtually nothing, and they're operating this company. When I went to your convention in Las Vegas, I was blown away. I was blown away at the dynamics of the convention and then the way it was put on. They didn't leave anything out. If you were there, you know that. I'm not telling you something you don't know. These two people have something very, very strong going for them. I want to recommend you do exactly what they tell you. And you're going to learn how to earn more money. You're going to learn how to enjoy more freedom and begin to live the life that you've designed to live. Now, there's a couple of points I want to touch on because I know that they buy into this, and I certainly buy into it. Neville pointed out that we are only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. Weakness of attention. We've got to focus on what we're doing. And then poverty of imagination. We've got to see ourselves where we really want to be. Now, there's two things that you must know if you're really going to live your dream. You got to know where you are, you've got to know where you're going, and then you've got to get moving in that direction. Now, it's so simple and it's so obvious, you have to ask, why are so many people stuck? You see them in your business, you see them in your company, you see them in your own group of people. Individuals who are fairly bright, but they're stuck. What is the problem? What's missing? What is these two things that they're not doing? Well, most people would say, well, they don't have a goal. And that could possibly be true, but they may not be very sophisticated with how they set their goal. You know, I've been carrying a goal card in my pocket now for 58 years. It's exactly what I want. I'm very, very, very disciplined in doing this. Well, maybe the person hasn't sat down and written their goal out. But I think there's something that they want, and we'll let that constitute a goal. I don't think that's where the problem is. I think the problem is down here. The problem is where they're at. You see, they're being controlled by a paradigm. Now, I'm not going to take a long time going into paradigms today, but I'm going to tell you this. It's a program in our subconscious mind that's controlling our behavior. And if you don't change that paradigm, nothing happens. Nothing happens. Let's take a look at what it is. A paradigm is nothing but a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. So do you see, there's a program in our mind that's controlling our behavior. What we've got to do is stop and take a look. We're doing the same things day in, day out. Oh, we may change one day for the next, but there's a routine, and that's why come payday we're getting the same money. Nothing really changes. Now, how can we change that? Well, let's stop and think. I was chatting with Jenna on the phone, and the two of us agreed on this one point. We agree on many points, but this is one we were in total agreement on. Let that X represent where you are. Okay? Take an honest look where you're at in your life, and you can see how you got there. Let these lines represent levels of awareness, or whatever you want to call it, and you can go back over your life and you can see how you move from one point to another. You know, you went to school, you got out of school, you met her, you met him, you did this, you did that. And we can go back as the time we were little kids. Now, I'm in my 80s, but I can go right back to the time I was 4 and 5 years old. And I don't have any difficulty with that. And I can restructure it. And the time that I've lived, it's gone so fast. But I can go back right to the point I'm at. Now, the X represents the results we're getting. I want you to let that X represent your results. Then let's take the lid off our mind and we'll say, but this is where I want to go. And we point to that other point, that X. And we can't see how to get there, so we let it fade. Then we get a little fed up with where we are, and then we bring it up again. We start daydreaming, and there it is. And you know something? And we let it fade. Dr. Wernher von Braun was talking to the President of the United States, President Kennedy. And Kennedy asked him a question. He said, what would it take to build a rocket that will carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth? He said, the will to do it. The will to do it. The ability to hold the picture on the screen of your mind of what it is you want. That's what he was saying. Well, we see that X, we don't hold that picture. Why not follow the advice of these two people? Why not follow the advice of Jenna and Joshua? I mean, just take a look at what they're doing. Take a look at their results. I've been around the park for a long time. I've worked all over the world. I've worked with some of the largest companies in the world. And I'm going to tell you something. By their results, you'll know them. By their fruits, you'll know them. Check a person's results. It'll tell you what's going on. They are getting extraordinary results. They must know what they're talking about. Do exactly what they tell you. Von Braun was right. All it'll take to get a person to go to the moon, bring back to Earth, is the will to do it. The way will be shown. You see, we take a look at where we want to go, and because we can't see any way of how we'll get there, we let it fade. Jen and I were talking about it, And it's the lack of building a vision and holding the vision of where you want to go. You can't see how you're going to get there because you've never been there. We're going way off to a point we've never been. But you don't let it fade. You know, many years ago, I sat down in a den in a little house on Maplewood Lane in Glenview, Illinois. And I took my pen and I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. Now, I was by myself. I didn't have anybody working with me. I was alone. I had nothing going. But I had an image in my mind, and I had taken my pen and I had written it down in the present tense because I knew that's what it took. I am so happy and grateful now that I am running a company that's teaching this critical information to people all over the world. Do you know our company now is in over 110 countries? We have one of the largest operations in this industry, and certainly, I believe, one of the best. We've got great information. When I was sitting down talking to Jenna and Joshua, I was absolutely blown away with their ability to look off into that X. That's where they want to go. They had no idea how to get there. It just blew me away. I phoned one day, I was talking to Joshua, and he says, Jenna's nursing the baby. Good Lord. Here she is feeding a brand new baby, running a company. The two of them are extraordinary. Now, the one lesson I learned from Ray Stanford, he's the man that gave me this book. He said, Bob, if you want to win, go to people that are already doing it, ask them what to do, and then do it. Jen and Joshua will tell you, don't let that X fade. Sit and build a picture of exactly what you want. Write it in the present tense. Do exactly what Dr. Werner von Braun told John Kennedy. And of course, we got to the moon. I had the good fortune of working with Captain Edgar Mitchell on a number of different occasions. He's gone now, God bless him, but he was the captain on one of the lunar landing modules. I met him way back in 1969. That was when they first come back from the moon. They had just been there. What an extraordinary guy. Now think, they did it. They did it in less than a decade. How come? Because they built the picture. What do you want to do? Build your picture. What would it take to build a rocket? The will to do it. That's all it'll take for you. Most people are extras in their own movie. See, there's no need of you sitting and looking at the top person in your company, the ones earning the most money, and saying, well, I wished I was that person. No. Don't do that. Don't look at other people and put yourself down. Understand if they did it, you can do it. You don't compete with them either. Competition is a dumb game. You're going to compete with anybody, compete with yourself. Try and do a better job today than you did yesterday. Here's what you have to ask. What do you really want? That's vitally important. And most people never sit down and ask that question. Now, I'm going to show you something here that'll help you reach any goal that you set. You've got to build a picture of it, but you're quite capable of doing it. Now, Josh and Jenna gave out thousands of these books. If you're at the convention, you got one. This is the composite of the wisdom from 500 of the world's most successful individuals way back in the early 90s, right up to 1937. Napoleon Hill spent his whole life studying this. Study it. Now, there's one chapter in that book on decision, and it's a classic. It is a true classic. And he points out in there analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark. This goes to the fact that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and changing those decisions slowly if and when they were changed. They reached their decision promptly. But that's only about 3%. How do they make their decisions so fast? Well, let's think about this for a moment. I've studied this now for many, many years. Let these lines represent levels of vibration. Levels of vibration are more commonly known as frequencies. Now, believe this. We think on frequencies. You see, thought is energy. Thought waves are cosmic waves that penetrate all time and space. You would be blown away if you could really get and see what we've really got going for us. Now let these puffy little clouds represent your thoughts. We'll say this is you. Forget about everybody else that's watching this. This is you. Those thoughts are producing the results that you're getting. The results you're getting, the money you're earning, the organization you're building is controlled by the thoughts you're thinking. Now you're sitting there with those results and you're saying, but that's where I want to go, and I'm going to do that as soon as I get a couple of good people. I'm going to do that as soon as the kids are out of school. I'm going to do that as soon as we get the money. That's not how Joshua and Jenna built this organization. They didn't say, I'm going to do that as soon as I get the money. They said, I'm going to do that. And then they attracted the money. You see, you attract to you whatever you're in harmony with. Well, if that's what you're doing, you're saying, I'm going to do that as soon as this changes, you're sunk. Because pretty soon the decision will die, and immediately following the decision dies, the goals fade too. Now, what is the problem here? I'll tell you exactly what the problem is. You're thinking down here on this frequency. It's like thinking on an AM frequency, and you want to get FM music. You're not going to get it. It's on a much higher frequency. You see, your mind and your thoughts must operate on the same frequency as your goal or the good that you desire. That's why Jenna said it's so absolutely essential you build the picture. Van Gogh, great artist, he was asked one time, he says, how do you do such beautiful work? He said, I dream my painting and then I paint my dream. Dream your painting. Visualize your goal. See where you want to go. Now this is a marvelous thing to understand. And what's one of the first rules? It's not only in Think and Grow Rich, it's in every good book you'll ever read. You've got to make a committed decision. There's no going back. There's no exit plan. This is where I'm going. You see, when I made a decision that I was going to build a company that operates all over the world, it wasn't if I get this money or if I get help. It was I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world, and we're over in 110 countries now. Well, look at what your own company has done. It's absolutely mind-boggling when you think about it. When you say, that's where I'm going, it's got to be a committed decision. It's got nothing to do with the money you've got or the organization you've got. It's what do you got in here? Then you've got to think and act like the person you want to become. Now look at that. The second you start to think and act like the person you want to become, you're on a different frequency of thought. You're not down here where you were. You're up now where you have to be. You let those old thinking go. You quit hanging around with the people you used to hang around with. You don't do the things you used to do. Why? Because your thoughts control you. You become what you think about. Thoughts are things. Now this is very important. Think and act like the person you want to become. You've got to see it in your mind. And then act like that person. That's where you are. You work like that person. It's so basic and it's so simple. The only prerequisite to getting what you want is, do you want it? You're going to make a decision to get what you want. You see, your daily choice is an idea that operates in Jenna and Joshua's mind. Hemp works, idea in their mind. Didn't matter what kind of problems they run into. It's what you want. What do you really want? Build the picture of it. Build the picture. That's the only thing. That's why successful people are so successful. They don't have to get in. They just make a decision, and they make the decision fast. They don't have to have any resources. They don't have to have the money or the people or anything else. All they have to have is the picture. This is where I'm going. Take the time to sit down and build a vision of what it is you want. That's what von Braun said to Kennedy. That's why he said it. The only thing you require, Mr. President, is the will to do it. He didn't say you're going to have to get all the Congress on your side. You're going to have to come up with all the best rocket scientists in the world. We're going to bring them all together. He didn't say that at all. What would it take to build a rocket that'll carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth? And the good doctor said, the will to do it. What will it take you to build that dream that you've got and turn it into physical result? The will to do it. That's all it'll take. The will to do it. Focus. Make up your mind that that's where you're going to go. Now look at this for a moment. You are a mass of energy and you function on frequencies. That's what you are. Nothing is created or destroyed. Everything's already here, if not in one state, another. How did we get the cell phones that we've got? The ability to make them were always here. How do we get this medium of that we're operating with right now to communicate? It was always here. It took a level of awareness to get there. And that's what it's going to take you. Now there you are, and that's where you want to go. What you understand is there is a place. Now I love the way Steve Jobs put it. He said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. You can look back and see how you got to where you are. But you don't know how you're going to get there. But you got to know you're going to get there. That's faith in yourself, faith in your company. If you are really wise, I would listen very carefully to every word that Josh or Jenna share with you. Those people know what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying that to flatter them. I'm saying that to wake you up. Look at their results. By their fruit you'll know them. Their results are there. They earn millions of dollars. They've built a dynamic organization. And they started with nada, nothing but the vision, the dream. You cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. But when you start moving, the dots all connect. They will all connect. And when you get there, you'll say, you know something? I wished I'd known this. I could have gone there. Well, go there. Go there. It's such a beautiful concept. Make a decision. Yet decision isn't prerequisite with what you've got. It's what do you want? They must be committed decisions, and then discipline yourself. That's the ability to give yourself a command and follow it. This I will do. You will be so glad you did. And you know something? When you set your goal like that, the dots will connect. You're in a great company. You truly are. You've got really strong leadership. Better than strength, they're aware. They are aware. They are aware of how to move to a higher level. Follow them. They know where they're going. I have been fortunate to follow people like Joshua and Jenna Zwagil all my life. Not all my life, but since I was 26. I started following Ray Stanford. Then I went to work with Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant. And I worked there for 5 years. Then I met Val Vanderwall and Dr. C. Harry Roeder. These people I followed. I did exactly what they said. When I wanted to learn to speak to an audience because I was shy, I went and got one of the best speakers in the world, Bill Gove. Bill Gove was phenomenal. Now, I speak nothing like Bill Gove. Bill taught me how to be comfortable in front of an audience. I've had great teachers, but they were always people that had already done what I wanted to do, that had already gone where I wanted to go. Your leaders have done what you want. Follow them. Build the picture. You don't have to know how you're going to get there. You just have to want to get there. I guarantee you, you'll have problems and you'll have wins, but you'll keep moving and keep moving in the right direction. You see, when I took that pen and I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world, I had absolutely no idea how I'd do it. But today we operate all over the world. I want you to watch this often. Study what I put on here. You're going to find out everything I've told you, Jenna's been telling you. She and Joshua do this. They live it. That is the beautiful truth. I am very proud that they're my friends. And I was so pleased to go and speak at their conference. What a conference. My goodness, they left nothing undone there. That was one of the most phenomenal conferences I've ever been at. And I've been at many of them over the last 58 years. Do what they're suggesting. Pick your target and then go there. This is Bob Proctor.